I think we should start with the Red Sox.
Let's do it.
They're doing pretty good. We're hitting the ball well. We're doing the little things that we want to do.
They went and they had those 6 games against Tampa, New York, beginning August, basically put themselves in a flat-footed tie with Texas, said, you know what, this is 50 games to the wild card, and they've been the third best team in baseball since that point. So
yeah, it's good stuff.
I don't necessarily think they're as good as their record might imply, but they clearly are a team that is a potential playoff team, and almost at this point, almost an assured playoff team. And at that point, you get in the playoffs, and as the 2006 St. Louis Cardinals showed us, anything can happen.
You know what else they showed us? Albert Pujols is awesome.
He is. He is.
Well, what are some of the flaws, the weaknesses that you see?
Well, I think that their lineup has still shown the ability to not hit as a group often against good pitching. I mean, they did get a couple off of Matt Garza the other day, but he's one of the 10 best pitchers in the league, and he really shut them down. And those are the kind of guys
Garza is you're going to see. Is he?
If you look at batting average against, which I always like because it's strictly what the guy does against hitters.
Yep.
He's one of the 10 best pitchers in the league, and he shut them down really throughout most of the season. They got lucky with a couple home runs throughout the way, and Sabathia has had success against them. A.J. Burnett's been a little spotty, but the Yankees pitching is a whole other story for another day.
But don't you think that the Red Sox, just with so much, with so much recent history in the playoffs, I mean, aren't they better served than some of the other teams to go out and maybe be better than the sum of their parts in the postseason?
I think that's one of those things that can get overstated and understated a little bit.
Let's do both.
I mean, playoff experience is valuable. They clearly have a veteran team. They've clearly been there before, as so often is said. But at the same time, it's such a small sample size that, one series. I mean, look at the Yankees. Since 2000, the Yankees have got more wins in the regular season than any other team, and we know what's happened to them in the last 8 years.
Right.
They get into a short series. They get a couple of spotty pitching matchups. A-Rod comes up short, and the bats come up short, and they're out. And that's, you look at it, a season like the one that they're having this year, it takes 1 week to erase all the success that they've had. They've been the best team in baseball by something like 5 games since the All-Star break.
Yeah, I think the baseball playoffs have always been, it just seems like more so than any of the other sports. And it seems ridiculous since they have the longest season of the 4 major sports, and yet the playoffs are clearly the biggest crapshoot. I mean, the NFL playoffs, you do have outsider teams that get in there, but generally, your top teams are. It's not just it's not like every year it's the number 6 seed and number 4 seed playing in the Super Bowl. Usually it's either 2 of the top 4 teams. Occasionally you get an outsider, but usually it's against a top team.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey, basketball, traditionally it's the top seeds that make it.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball, I mean, you can't tell me that any team has, if there's 8 teams in the playoffs, does anyone have more than a 20% chance to win, really? I mean,
I think basketball took a step towards eliminating that a little bit when they took the first round and went from 5 games to 7 games. And the logic behind
that's
it
what
was,
they should. I feel that baseball has to do that.
There may have been a financial aspect to it, but if you have a 7-game series, odds are pretty good that the better team is going to come out on top. I mean, the thing that the biggest complaint I have with the baseball playoffs, and this kind of rings a bit hollow here because it's benefited the Red Sox, is there's no real disadvantage to winning the wild card over winning the division.
Right.
I mean, you're basically talking about 3 home games instead of 2. Why not have the wild card not host a home game? Why not have some sort of a playoff? I mean, I think part of the problem is there's not a real set solution, and there's not really a good solution out there. And baseball's not a proactive sport. It looks to solve problems after they crop themselves up. It doesn't look to, revolutionize anything because it's baseball. It's about, the old and the numbers and the tradition and everything along those lines.
By the way, that's Jon Couture speaking.
A lot.
Better read than that.
If we get to the Celtics, you will hear silence.
And Mick Calaggio.
What about him?
Give me a 30 seconds. Your 30-second take on the Red Sox.
You know what?
45 seconds. Go.
Dice K. I'm waiting to see all the Japanese hats now. They're going to come out of mothballs. People are going to run him through the washer and dryer once and put him on because Daisuke's back in form. And it's like the Red Sox acquired a pitcher way after the deadline, and suddenly there's reason to be excited about the season again. I didn't think
I agree.
These guys, anything was going to happen with these guys. Now all of a sudden, if Beckett stops giving up long balls, Coach can tell me what's really going on there as far as the timeline goes. But if he stops being susceptible to home runs, then you got two studs. And if Lester's pitching well now all of a sudden you might be the team with the pitching that's able to do what he was just talking about in the playoffs, which is negate the Yankees' offensive firepower. And if their pitching isn't everything it's been throughout the year, which is always a complicated question with them, for like 10 years now, then that's who the heck knows. I guess anything's possible, but at the same time, this isn't the Red Sox team that last won it.
Right.
That team had Manny. I mean, I'm just not expecting it anymore. They just seem pretty ordinary to me these days.
I think that's
and even though they have a lot of
them.
similarities to the championship club, and there's a lot of great young players to like on the team, and Yuke's a monster and all that, but I don't feel like they are special anymore.
I mean, every team's going to be interesting to watch in the postseason, but those Yankees, you talked a little bit about their pitching. They've kind of messed up Jabba Chamberlain a little bit with the innings limits and having him throw shorter starts rather than just taking him out of the rotation altogether. Now Pettit's got injury issues. That's a veteran team also, but that's a team that's dealing with some significant pressures. I mean, to win as much as they've won in the regular season and then not do anything in the playoffs, they've kind of become the Red Sox a little bit.
But that goes back to the whole flaw of the thing, that I know it makes it interesting, but it just doesn't. Are they really crowning a true champion at the end of their season? I'm going back to the whole shortness of these series. Mm-hmm. I mean, to do a 162 game season and then to have a best of 5 is basically the equivalent of, okay, we've done our entire NFL season. We don't have we're only going to let 8 teams in, not 12. They're all going to play, and it's only going to be a half. I mean, that is basically what these best of 5 series are. That's why all of the gnashing of teeth and all of the, it's, you make 3 mistakes, you have one of your pitchers has a bad night, and it's see you next year.
Well, playoffs in a lot of senses are that, no matter what you do. I mean, if you really wanted to get into the statistical studies, and I know it's been done by university professors and et cetera, men much smarter than we are. If you really want to try to eliminate that sort of, anomaly of a bad team getting through, you've got to play so many games that it's just completely restrictive. Yeah. Baseball's already going to have a World Series that in all likelihood spans into November.